Welcome back to our channel, Valuable Coins Hub. These rare Lincoln penny coins make people rich. Let's find out why. Don't miss out one of these. Who know a single coin make you rich? Number 1. Today, we are stepping into the fascinating world of one of the most memorable modern pennies in United States history, the 2009 Lincoln Professional Life Cent. This isn't just any ordinary 1-cent coin. This little piece of copper-plated zinc carries a story that takes us back through time, connecting directly to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln himself. Collectors, if you love history, rare finds, and the thrill of hunting for coins that could be worth much more than just pocket change, you're going to want to listen to this very carefully. Now, before we get into the values and what makes this coin so special, let's set the scene. The year 2009 marked the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and the U.S. Mint decided to celebrate it in a very unique way. They released 4 different reverse designs for the Lincoln cent, each one telling a different chapter of his life. The Professional Life design, struck only in 2009, shows Lincoln standing in front of the Illinois State Capitol in Springfield, representing his career as a lawyer and statesman before becoming president. Imagine holding a coin that literally captures the moment Lincoln was preparing to take on one of the greatest challenges in American history. This design alone makes the coin historically significant, but the story gets even better when you start digging into the mintages, the rarities, and especially the errors. You see, while the Mint produced millions of these pennies, collectors quickly realized that not all were created equal. Some came out with beautiful sharp strikes, glowing luster, and well-centered images. Others came out with mistakes, and those mistakes can turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. One of the most sought-after errors on the 2009 Professional Life Cent are doubled dies, where the design looks slightly doubled under magnification. These are extremely popular with error hunters, and even small doubling can fetch impressive prices. Then you have off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't struck properly. Coins like that are rare and exciting because they're not just currency, they're one-of-a-kind pieces of minting history. There are also coins struck on defective planchets, coins with die cracks, and even examples with plating bubbles that collectors go crazy for. All of these errors make the coin stand out, and the best part is that they can be found in circulation. That means you might still stumble across one in your change, sitting quietly in a jar, waiting for someone with an eye for detail to notice its hidden value. Another reason this coin holds so much attention is the fact that it was a single-year design. Unlike regular Lincoln Memorial cents that lasted for decades, the Professional Life Cent had just one run, making it instantly collectible. Combine that with the nostalgia of Lincoln's bicentennial, and you have a coin that every collector wants in their collection. Now let's talk about condition, because this is where serious value kicks in. Collectors are always searching for uncirculated examples with original mint luster, and if you have one graded by a professional service, the price can jump dramatically. High-grade coins, especially in MS67 or MS68 condition, are far from common. The higher the grade, the scarcer they get, and the more collectors are willing to pay. Think about it for a second. A penny that cost only 1 cent to spend can now be a prized treasure, worth hundreds of dollars depending on its rarity and condition. And when you add errors or high-end grades into the mix, the value soars even more. This is why so many coin lovers are constantly checking their 2009 pennies, hoping to spot something rare and valuable. So, what are these coins actually bringing in the real market today? In recent auctions, pristine examples of the 2009 Lincoln Professional Life Cent in top condition have sold for hundreds, while rare error coins have gone for even higher amounts. Believe it or not, some of the most exceptional pieces have reached into the thousands of dollars when the right collectors are competing for them. That's right. A coin that began its life as just 1 cent has proven it can be worth thousands in today's market. And that's the magic of coin collecting. Something as small as a penny can hold within it a story of history, art, rarity, and sometimes even life-changing value. It's what keeps collectors searching, hunting, and hoping for that next amazing find. So next time you come across a 2009 penny, don't just toss it aside. Take a close look, especially at the Professional Life design, because who knows, you might be holding a hidden treasure that's far more valuable than a single cent. Thank you so much for joining me today, coin lovers. If you enjoyed this journey through history and rarity, make sure to hit that like button, leave a comment sharing if you've ever found a 2009 Professional Life Cent, And don't forget to subscribe for more stories about coins that could be hiding in your pocket change right now. Number 2, we're diving into one of those coins that looks ordinary, but to the right collector, it can be a hidden treasure. I'm talking about the 1991 Lincoln penny, the 1-cent coin that most people spent without a second thought, yet certain rare versions of it are now considered incredibly valuable. The Lincoln cent has always been special to Americans, not just because it's the most common coin in circulation, but because it carries the face of President Abraham Lincoln, a symbol of history, freedom, and resilience. The 1991 penny is part of that legacy, and while billions were made, a small fraction of them have errors, striking varieties, or conditions so pristine that collectors will pay astonishing amounts to own them. Now let's take a closer look at what makes the 1991 penny stand out. First, it's important to remember that the 1990s were a period when the U.S. Mint was transitioning technologies and improving their production process. Even though machines were becoming more precise, mistakes still slipped through. And for collectors, those mistakes are golden opportunities. One of the most fascinating types of 1991 Lincoln cents are the error coins. There are off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more desirable the coin becomes. Then there are double die varieties, where the design appears doubled because of a misfeed or die problem. Imagine looking at Lincoln's face or the date and seeing a faint but clear doubling. That's the kind of detail that can transform a 1-cent coin into something worth serious money. There are also 1991 pennies struck on the wrong planchet. These are extremely rare but do exist. Sometimes a penny was accidentally struck on a dime planchet, which makes it smaller and silver in color, or even on a foreign coin planchet. These oddities are highly prized because they shouldn't exist at all. For error collectors, these are dream finds. Condition is another huge factor. Most 1991 pennies in circulation are worn, scratched, or dull. But if you find one that was never spent, still shining red and flawless, it can be worth far more than face value. Professional coin grading companies award top grades to these coins, and those grades make all the difference when it comes to value. The jump in price between a coin in average condition and one in mint state can be jaw-dropping. Collectors also look at where the coin was minted. The 1991 pennies were made in both Philadelphia and Denver, with a D mint mark for Denver and no mint mark for Philadelphia. While both versions are common, the Denver Mint often produced coins with striking errors that slipped through quality control. Spotting one of those can turn your find into something extraordinary, so next time you see a 1991 penny, don't dismiss it too quickly. Look closely at the details, check the edges, examine the lettering, and see if something looks unusual. Because even though it might just seem like another cent, it could actually be a hidden gem hiding in plain sight. And now the part you've been waiting for, the value. Regular 1991 pennies are worth just their face value, but rare errors and coins in the highest mint state grades have sold for impressive sums. At real coin auctions, some of these pennies have brought in thousands, with standout examples selling for over $5,000, so coin lovers, always remember that history might just be hiding in your pocket change. The 1991 Lincoln cent is proof that even the smallest coin can carry a big story and an even bigger value. Number 3, we're about to uncover why this particular penny can be worth more than just a single cent. The year 1992 might not sound special at first, but when it comes to Lincoln pennies, it was actually a year of transition, a year that gave birth to one of the rarest and most sought-after errors in modern coin collecting. And this wasn't something that the mint did intentionally. It was an accident, a blending of old and new designs that left us with one of the most exciting rarities a penny could ever offer. Now, let's talk about the design for a moment. On the obverse, we still have the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln by Victor David Brenner, the design that has been there since 1909. It's simple, it's iconic, it's American history stamped in copper. But the real story of the 1992 penny begins on the reverse side, with the Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparo. For decades, that memorial reverse had been a symbol of strength and remembrance, but in 1992, something unusual slipped through the cracks. This is where we enter the world of the famous 1992 close AM variety. If you've ever heard of coin collectors whispering about close AM and wide AM pennies, this is one of those legendary cases. Most 1992 pennies feature the letters A and M in the word America spaced apart, a detail known as the wide AM. but a tiny, tiny number of them were struck with the new design intended for later years, where the A and M are so close together, they almost touch at a first glance. Most people would never even notice this. But for collectors, spotting that close AM detail is like striking gold. This was not meant for circulation in 1992. It was a mistake. That mix-up created a rarity so special that only a handful are known to exist. And every time one is discovered, it sends shockwaves through the collecting community. Now imagine finding one of these in pocket change. It's the kind of discovery that turns an ordinary day into a story you'll tell for the rest of your life. Coin lovers spend hours studying their pennies under magnifying glasses just to see if the AM is close or wide, because that tiny little detail can make all the difference between a common penny and a life-changing treasure. But that's not the only exciting thing about the 1992 penny. Aside from the close AM variety, collectors also look for coins with striking errors. Think about off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, or even weak strikes that leave the coin looking unusual. Each one tells a story about what was happening inside the mint that day, and each one has the potential to turn a regular coin into a rare collectible. For a coin like this, rarity is everything. It's not just about the metal, it's not about the weight, it's about the story, the accident, the mistake, the chance alignment of events that gave us something unexpected. That's why collectors get so passionate about coins like the 1992 close AM penny. It's not only a piece of American money, it's a piece of history, frozen in copper, with a mystery and a thrill that continues to this day. And now comes the part that excites collectors the most. Because when rarity meets demand, value skyrockets. While the average 1992 penny might still only be worth 1 cent, the close AM variety and certain rare errors can sell for staggering amounts at auction. In fact, some examples of the 1992 close AM penny have sold for tens of thousands of dollars, with one of the finest known specimens bringing a price well over $20,000 in auction. That's right, a penny worth $20,000 or more, simply because of one tiny design detail. So next time you're looking through your change, don't just toss that penny aside. Take a closer look, especially at the 1992 pennies. You never know, you might be holding on to one of the rarest varieties out there. A coin that collectors dream about, a coin that could turn 1 cent into a small fortune. Number 4. Have you ever held an old penny in your hand and thought, what if this little coin was worth more than just 1 cent? Well, today we're diving into a piece of American history that many people overlook, the 1963 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it might look like just another coin from your change, but for collectors and coin lovers, this penny tells an incredible story, and in certain cases, it can be surprisingly valuable. So get ready, because if you have one of these tucked away in a jar or album, you're going to want to pay close attention. The 1963 penny was part of the beloved Lincoln cent series, a design that had already been in circulation for over 50 years by the time this one was minted. On the front, or the obverse, you'll see the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, the same design that first appeared back in 1909. On the reverse, you'll find the 2 wheat ears had already been replaced with the Lincoln Memorial in 1959, so by 1963, this was still a relatively new look. Now, the year 1963 is interesting because these coins were struck in massive numbers. The Philadelphia Mint alone produced over 700 million, and the Denver Mint struck even more, over 1 billion. With numbers like that, you might think none of these coins could be rare, right? But that's where the magic of errors and condition comes in. Collectors know that even in high mintage years, some coins stand out because of mistakes during production. With the 1963 penny, there are some famous double die varieties where the lettering or numbers appear doubled, giving the coin a dramatic and collectible look. Imagine finding the words "In God We Trust" or the date 1963 with a strong doubling effect. That's the kind of thing that gets coin collectors really excited. Another variety to watch for is the repunched mint mark on Denver coins. Back in the early 1960s, mint marks were still punched into the dies by hand, which sometimes led to overlapping impressions. A depunched more than once, slightly off, creates what's known as an RPM or repunched mint mark. These varieties are small, but to collectors, they're like hidden treasures, and they can boost the value of a simple penny far beyond face value. And of course, condition matters a lot. Most 1963 pennies in circulation today are worn down, showing the signs of years spent in pockets, drawers, and change jars. But if you happen to find one in brilliant uncirculated condition, with its original red luster shining bright, that's when the real value comes into play. Collectors pay strong premiums for high-grade examples, especially those that are certified by grading companies as being among the very best surviving pieces. There's also something deeply nostalgic about the 1963 penny. Think about it, this was the final year before the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy, a time when America was in the middle of major cultural and historical change. Holding a coin from that year is like holding a small piece of history, a reminder of the world as it was over 60 years ago. So what about the value? Well, most circulated examples of the 1963 penny will still only be worth a few cents, maybe $1 or $2 for nicer ones. But when you start looking at rare error coins, double dies, repunched mint marks, or top-grade examples with that blazing red luster, the story changes. Some of these coins have sold in real auctions for thousands of dollars, with one stunning example bringing more than $10,000 at auction. That's right, a single 1-cent coin from 1963, turning into 5 figures for the lucky collector who had it. And that's the beauty of coin collecting. It's not just about the money, it's about the thrill of discovery, the history in your hands, and the possibility that something ordinary could be extraordinary. So the next time you spot a 1963 Lincoln penny, don't just toss it aside. Look closely, check the mint mark, check the details, and see if you've got one of those special coins that could be worth so much more than 1 cent. Because who knows, you might just have a hidden treasure waiting for you. Number 5 and last rare coin, we're going to explore the mysteries, the hidden errors, and the incredible value behind this little 1-cent piece that so many people overlook. The 1984 penny carries the familiar design we all know so well, with Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. It was struck in huge numbers, hundreds of millions, which makes people think it's just common pocket change. But, as every coin collector knows, it's the details that matter. And in those details lies the difference between a simple cent and a treasure worth hunting for. One of the most famous and desirable varieties for the 1984 penny is the double ear variety. Yes, you heard that right, a double die error where Lincoln's ear actually shows a clear doubling. At first glance, it might look like a shadow, but when you really focus, you'll see the strong outline of a second ear beneath the first. This striking error was created during the minting process, and it has fascinated collectors for decades because it's bold, unique, and easy to identify once you know what to look for. Now imagine this. Most people who held these pennies in the 1980s and 1990s never even noticed the error. Millions of them probably passed through banks, grocery stores, and gas stations without anyone realizing they were holding a tiny fortune in their hands. That's the magic of coin collecting, the thrill of knowing something rare could be hiding right under your nose. But the doubled ear isn't the only thing that makes the 1984 penny exciting. There are also minor variations in strike quality, mint marks, and overall condition. For example, pennies struck in perfect condition with sharp details and flawless surfaces are extremely rare because most of these coins circulated heavily. Collectors go crazy for coins in mint state condition, especially when they carry such a dramatic error. Another fascinating aspect is how this penny marks a turning point in U.S. coinage history. Just a couple of years earlier, in 1982, the mint had changed the composition of the penny from mostly copper to a copper-plated zinc core. That means the 1984 cent you might find is actually a thin layer of copper over zinc, making it more prone to spots, scratches, and damage. So finding a flawless example untouched by circulation is a challenge in itself. Every collector dreams of discovering one of these error coins. Imagine opening an old jar of pennies or sorting through your change and spotting that doubled ear under a magnifying glass. It's not just about the money, it's about the story, the history, and the thrill of discovery. And here's where it gets truly exciting. In real-world coin auctions, collectors have paid impressive amounts for the 1984 doubled ear penny. Some pristine examples in mint state condition have sold for thousands, and one remarkable piece reached a hammer price of more than $5,000. Yes, a coin that originally cost just 1 cent could today be worth $5,000 or more depending on condition and rarity. So the next time you see a penny from 1984, don't toss it aside. Take a closer look, grab a magnifying glass, and check that ear. You never know, you could be holding a small fortune hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this story and you love the thrill of discovering rare coins, make sure to subscribe, give this video a like, and share it with fellow collectors. Every penny has a story, and who knows, the next rare treasure might just be sitting in your pocket right now.